What's up guys, welcome back to another episode of my Dark Deku cosplay series. In today's episode, we're going to weather and repurpose some gloves, and we're also going to be using EVA foam to work on the mid gauntlets. I'm sorry that it took a few months to get this video out, but I really want to finish the costume as fast as possible. That's because certain conventions are coming up this year. I wanted to make sure that I had this costume done, so I just focused on just recording and not editing the videos yet. But now, since 99% of the costume is pretty much done, videos on this particular cosplay is going to come out a lot faster than my other videos usually do. With the gloves in particular, I wanted them to be a little bloodied, but I don't think that that blood is from the actual villains that he's fighting. I think that he's working himself so hard. The blood from his knuckles are being soaked into the gloves, and I wanted to implement that sort of idea that he's exhausting himself and that he's working himself past his own limit. And I think I got that across in the gloves. So that's just sort of a mental thing, that when you're working on this costume, you got to make sure that every piece of the costume that you're working on has a story. Anytime that you weather anything, especially, it's gonna have character and it's gonna have a story behind each little stain. It's weird because it's like when you're weathering, it's kind of random, but it's very thought out. And then with the mid gauntlets, I try to take as much inspiration from people who made the Winter Soldier arms, just trying to find out how they figured out how to articulate them. I think on the end of the day, I did my own thing, but I did keep in mind how that sort of stuff worked. And again, with the weathering, he's used these mid gauntlets past their own limit. Just looking at the manga panels, how these particular mid gauntlets broke and some pieces chipped away, and the way they wrap around his arms. I think I did a pretty decent job in implementing that onto these pieces. So I might not talk as much as I usually do, which is probably a good thing, to be honest, but that's pretty much it. I'm gonna send you all to the rest of the video. I hope you enjoy and follow along. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and follow me on Instagram. I post there a lot more often than I post here on YouTube. So if you want to keep updated with this particular cosplay or other things that I do, that's the best place to do it. But that's it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys later. So now we're gonna be working on the gloves. So here I have some leather gloves that I got at Tractor Supply, and I actually bought 2 pairs. The reasoning for that is because Deku's gloves has a little like extra spot right here that kind of sticks out from the rest of the gloves. So I bought 2 pairs just so that I could take leather from each glove and then wrap it around that little piece I'm be adding right there, and that way the leather is the exact same and like the same color and all of that. Now I got some sanded pieces here. You can see they're just in the shape of a trapezoid. I sanded them down to a little wedge and then sanded down the edges. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the leather here, I'm gonna wrap it around, all the way around this foam piece here, and then I'm gonna see how to properly attach that onto the rest of the glove. Another thing I did was I sanded down the inside here, and also I have a little step right here because it does stick out a little bit, so I added that just to mimic that. So I left the back flap open so that when I glue this onto here, that flap could go underneath and it'll attach to the bottom side of that. What I'm going to do is mark the middle of this part. I'm marking where to put the glue. You can see that before I start painting onto the actual gloves, I'm working on the practice glove here that I already cut, and I'm testing out the paint that I'm going to be using. You can see I'm scratching it now. I have a pick here. I can start scratching it. And that's pretty good paint. And then I also have, because I'm going to be masking parts off so that it looks more clean, I put some masking tape over it just to see how that is, and came off really nicely. All right, I'm really happy with how that turned out. This is the paint that I'm using. I'm airbrushing it onto the gloves. Really liked how it turned out so far. I'm gonna go ahead and finish the gloves. You can see over here, I've already finished one glove. So I want these gloves to be very worn out. And this is a left hand. There's gonna be more of that on this glove since this is my dominant hand. But there's a lot of scratches. There's different colors. You can see all the colors that I'm using here. Like the blood here on the knuckles. That could be either Deku's or a villain's. Really no way of knowing. And then it's raining, so the blood is kind of dripping down on the fingers. I think he catches a bullet at one point. So there's gonna be a lot of wear in this. And I mean, he was very busy. So I gotta make this match this one. I'm gonna start off with this color. It's referred to as like a sand color. That's gonna go mainly on the fingertips and then on the palm. First things first, I need to weather this and sand this down so it is as mangled as this glove over here. Basically, all I'm gonna do is put the glove on, use a sanding bit, a very rough sanding bit on my rotary tool here, and then put it on a very low setting. If it's too high, then it's pretty much just gonna smoothen out the leather. If it's low, then if you have a really rough one, it's gonna pick up the leather like grain. Alright, so now I added a second bag for the biceps, and what I'm going to do is have my arm bent like this. Just place layers of tape. Make sure you do strips, because if you just grab the tape and then you wrap it around, then each time you go around it's going to get a little tighter and tighter, and you're going to cut off your blood circulation. So that's why I always do little tiny strips. I'm gonna add 10 millimeters. 5 of that millimeters is for the thickness of the foam, and then another 5 just to have a little bit more room in there. So I have my 2 pieces here. Now the forearm, I made it to where the seam line is gonna be at the bottom of my forearm. That way I could have a little piece here where I could open up and then slide my hand through. I'm gonna make a base, and then I'm gonna add foam on top of it to make the spiraling part of it. So I have 5 millimeter foam here, and I'm gonna cut these out of this. So now that this forearm part is glued and set, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wrap them in strips of foam. These are 2 inches wide. These longer ones are 17.5 inches long. Some of them are shorter than others. Now what I'm gonna do with every single one of these strips, you can see here, I had a sanding bit on my Dremel, and then I cut a bevel here, just so that it doesn't just look like that there is these blocks. So I'm going to do this to every single one of these, and then after that I'm going to get the contact cement, and then I'm going to glue each piece on layer by layer. They're going to overlap each other, so once I cut the bevel on this one, then when I glue it on, it's going to go sit right on top of that part. So now I'm gonna go ahead and seal the foam, and what that's gonna do is gonna make all of these scratches a lot bigger. And then after I seal it with the heat gun, I'm gonna prime it with the Plasti Dip, and then I can do the paint job. gonna do a technique where I hold the airbrush really high and facing down towards the thing I'm painting. And what that's gonna do, it's gonna give it tiny little specks of freckles. And you can see here on the piece that I've already finished, it gives it little tiny specks. Like, it's really hard to tell on camera, but you could see it kind of has like really small black freckles on it, and that's just from me holding the airbrush down, holding it really high up, like about 2 feet, really quickly pressing and pulling the knob that releases the paint. So there is the paint job and the weathering. Now what I'm going to do to make this look a little more dirty, I'm going to add some dirt. Here's just a cup of dirt I found outside, and then here is some all-purpose Elmer's glue. I'm just going to squeeze a good amount of this into here. I'm going to mix it up until I notice that all of it is goopy and not the sandy texture that it was before. So I'm just going to keep adding Elmer's glue until I get an even consistency out of the whole thing. That looks pretty good. So I'm just gonna, I guess I'll just use the stick and I'll add it in places I think I might need it. And the dirt is gonna pile up on the crevices here. I don't want too much. So here are my dirt covered, weathered, these are the forearm parts. What I have here is just some Velcro. I have it here, I attached it onto a 2-inch piece of elastic strap. It's not gonna stretch the long ways, which is the weight it's gonna be attached on, but I feel like this is gonna work perfect for what I'm working with. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put some contact cement on here, and as well as here on the where the wrist goes through, and then I'm just attaching this one with the adhesive that it already has on it. You can see I already did it with this one here, so you can see on the inside I need to cinch that a little bit, but here are 2 pieces. There's some 2 pieces of Velcro there so that this is still able to open, so that I'm able to get my arm through here. That, and then I could just pinch it and then push it, and then here I have the forearm piece. And it's not, I don't have to worry about this slipping off if I'm like moving too much. Whereas like with this one, I have it on, but like going through the day, it's constantly gonna be slipping down, and then I have to constantly be pulling it back up. So with that Velcro, it just makes it a little bit tighter. There's that. I'm gonna go ahead and attach this piece. Now when I put it on, this is the arm I'm putting it on. I'm gonna want to be able to tuck in whatever I need to, pinch it, and then push. And I push with my thumb. So I want the top part to be where my thumb is, so I'm going to want this piece to stick on this side. When putting contact cement on something like a fabric, you're going to want to put a considerable amount, just so that you know that it really soaks in there, but it doesn't soak in too deep, and there's still like a good layer on top of everything. And then this one, it's foam, so I don't need to put too much. I'm going to attach it to where it's above the bottom, but the Velcro part is sticking out. Now I'm not going to attach these 2 pieces just yet because the contact cement is still curing a little bit. So I'm going to come back to this in maybe like 20 minutes. So now I got a secure bond there, and this one is not going anywhere. I can show you guys by putting it on, and then I'm gonna switch sides. So here's the Velcro here. I could use my index to tuck it in, and then the index and thumb to close the gap there, and then use my thumb to pinch it. And then this one is just as secure as my other one. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna seal all of this. I'm just gonna spray a clear coat over everything, and the clear coat I'm gonna be using is Mod Podge Super High Shine because it's raining the entire time that Deku's out there fighting. So I want this to look a little glossy so that it looks a little wet, and it might help bring out some of the red a little bit too. So I'm gonna take this outside. I'm just gonna do it maybe 2 light coats of this, and it's also gonna help seal in the dirt, and it won't just like rub off. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope you were able to follow along. I found in past videos I might have over-explained a bunch of things. I hope I didn't under-explain anything here. So if you have any questions about anything that I did in the video, leave in the comment section. Links to different stuff that I use will be in the description. Also, the link to my Instagram will be down there as well. Go ahead and follow me there. I post updates and just regular like cosplay stuff. Tell me what you guys think about the gloves and the mid-gauntlet that I made in this episode. I don't think that I need to make a template for the mid-gauntlet, since the only template that you really have to make is just wrapping your arm in duct tape. I have pretty long arms. I'm a pretty tall dude. So if you do it yourself, then I think that you're gonna get better results. They're gonna fit you better. And then just cutting yourself out strips of foam. I don't think there's a I don't think that a template is really needed for that. But if you need one, then let me know and I'll be happy to make one for you. I'm actually pretty happy with how they turned out. I don't know if you noticed, but when I made the gloves, I weathered them based off reference of gloves that I have used and worn out a lot. And this is very common, but I also weathered it like this just so that I could still use my phone. I know it's not that big of a deal just to take off your glove and use your phone, but this helps keep the illusion, as Bruce Campbell once said. Share this video with anyone that you think might be interested as well. That's pretty much the main way that my channel grows, is by word of mouth. So if you can, I would really appreciate it if you could share this with any of your friends, anyone who you think might be interested. If you followed me on Instagram, and you know that I competed in a cosplay contest, and it was very humbling seeing how talented other people are, and just the amount of people who are much more talented than I am. That's giving me the inspiration to do a lot better in my own costumes. So I'm gonna grow pretty fast starting now, and I hope you guys follow along in that journey. But that's it for this video. So hope you enjoyed what I was able to put out, and that's pretty much it. I'll talk to you guys next time, whether it's another Deku cosplay video or whatever else I do. Goodbye.